Shalom, this is GMS Solid Sit Downs coming back with the lesson. First off and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and the highest honor to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, GMS, for teaching us this truth and the Ruel. Peace and salutations to the elect out there spreading this word of sincerity and the truth all over the four corners of the earth. I'm at the job site, running a project over here. But it's right in front of the Peace Palace in The Hague. The Peace Palace in The Hague, in Dutch they call it Vredespaleis, which means Peace Palace. Standing here for a couple minutes, thought I should make a video on it because it's not really a prophecy, but prophecies are linked to it, Salakia. I'm just observing these Edomites, because around this palace you have all kind of camera surveillance, things like that. And here it is, I'm filming the place, yeah. So the Peace Palace is set up in 1899, by multiple nations, America, of course, Russia, European nations, to basically make an agreement on peace. They wanted to make an agreement on peace, and this palace is so-called museum and a gathering place where they come to talk about rights and peace and all kinds of nonsense, which there shall be none, like it's prophesied in the Bible. So when cars pull up to this place, they get searched, of course, for bombs. They get searched for bombs, but what these nations did was create this place by investing in it. Major investment came from the Amalekites, these fake Jews, and what they agreed upon was that there should be peace. There should be peace and no wars. And the funny thing about that is that 1 year later, the First World War broke out, which is Bible prophecy. Let me grab it real quick. This is Revelation chapter 9 verse 12. It says, "One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter." So while these nations was creating an agreement on peace and that this building should be made, the Germans created the fences. Switzerland created the clock. The wood came from Indonesia, and the wood came from America. Things like that. People invested in the library, agreeing on building something peaceful and so-called to glorify in. But the Most High was not down with that. So 1 year later, he made a major prophecy come to pass, which is World War I. Like I just read in Revelation chapter 9, If you go into Revelation chapter 9, you will read about World War I, you know, which was led by Kaiser Wilhelm. You can research him. Kaiser Wilhelm, he was basically the devil that made World War I happen, which was of course by the hands of the Heavenly Father, man. You know, so Revelation 9 and 12 says, one woe is past, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter. So it's prophesied that there will be 3 world wars, you know, which the Second World War happened also already, and now we are heading towards World War III. You know, it's pending. World War III is pending, man. You see all these nations going head to head with each other, going head to head to each other with the trade wars and all kinds of things, you know. So that's pending, you know. But this is the thing that Esau thinks, that there will be peace, but there shall be none, you know. So they created this building. They had their peace conference. They had their first peace conference in 1899, and it opened, I believe, in let me see. It opened, officially opened in bear with me for a moment. I think it opened in 1903, but they were still building. Let me see, the first yeah, it was around the 1900s, you know, and then around 1914, 1913, this World War I started to pop off, you know. So it's no coincidence, man. The Most High was not done with this so-called peace. That's why it also says, in the scriptures, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 3, it says, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. You know, and that happened in World War I. You know, when they said peace and safety, you know, coming together as nations, talking about peace and safety. This is the peace palace. You know, there should be no division among us. We should work together, this and this and that. But the Most High has prophesied already, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction shall fall upon them. You know, so the sudden destruction that fell upon them was World War I, man. You know, and they set up the European Union because of World War I. Because in World War I, these European unions was going against each other, which is also prophecy. These European nations was going against each other. So what they did was they set up the European Union to prevent things like that. You know, they made an agreement wherein it was said, you know, we will not make war with each other. We are an alliance called the European Union. But it has been prophesied in the book of Daniel chapter 2, where it speaks about the statue of Nebuchadnezzar with the feet of part iron, part clay, that it shall not stick together. So even though they set up this European Union, just like they set up this palace it's gonna crumble and it's gonna fall. You know, this is Daniel chapter 2 verse 43. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. You see, so the iron mixed with clay is not gonna stick together, and it's gonna be partly strong and partly weak, which is you have some countries in Europe, they are weak, man, like Greece, Italy, Croatia, you know, Spain and Portugal are kind of weak. But then you have Britain, you have Luxembourg, you have Belgium, you have of course Germany, which Germany is one of the strongest nations in Europe. So that's the iron, but it's not gonna stick together. These countries are not gonna stick together. Here it is, you already see a part falling off because of the Brexit. So the plans that these so-called white people have, the plans that these so-called white people make, is not gonna stand, because it's not for them to decide, man. It's for Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Like it says in Proverbs chapter 21 verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh, as the rivers of water he turneth it whithersoever he will. You see, so the king's heart is in the hands of Yahweh. So even though it's the idea of a Russian warlord to build this palace, you know, years later there came World War I, man. World War, it's not just a war between a few countries, no, World War, man. Showing you, man, like, listen, what y'all doing, that's not prophecy, that's not gonna happen. The Most High turns the mind of the kings wheresoever he wills. You know, the Most High just directs the mind of the kings, man. Like, okay, this is not gonna happen, just make war. You know, nice for you that you build your fancy palace, you know, with gates with gold on it and a clock of gold, you know, but this is not gonna happen. Boom, World War I is set off in full effect. So the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh, as the rivers of water he turneth it whithersoever he will. You know, so the Most High turns the course of the river, and Esau doesn't like it, because Esau has a mind state that they have to work it out in order for their kingdom to last, and they think they will. That's why it says in Psalms, let me see, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 49 verse 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. You see, now what nation calls lands after their own names? If you look at Africa, you know, it's called after Leoscipicus africanus. If you look at America, it's called after Americo Vespucci. If you research how many cities Alexander the Greek, they call him great, but he's just the Greek, and he's a creep too. You know how many cities he called after his own name? It's approximately 70 cities, man. 70 cities with the same name, Alexandria or Alexander. You know, so this is the so-called white race, which in the Bible is referred to as the Edomites. You know, and their inward thought is that their house shall continue forever. You know, but they don't understand that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, like it says in Daniel 4:17. This is Daniel chapter 4 verse 17. This is the matter by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of man, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. You know, these Edomites are the basis of men. You know, and The Most High has set them above the Negros, Latinos, and Indianos, which is unto this day also confusion of faces. So there might be certain white people that look like Edomites, but they are actually Israelites, you know. So this is not a color thing. This is about race. This is about lineage. And even though we cannot trace our lineage back to Jacob, it's a spiritual thing. That's why in Romans it says, the Spirit itself beareth witness that we are the children of God. You know, you can see the gifts that have been given to the children of the Most High, which are Israelites. You know, so it's prophesied that the kingdom was going to be taken from us. You know, by these so-called white people, which were the basis of man, and they teach you that in their own history. They teach you in their own history that they came out of the caves, that they were cave dwellers. They call themselves Caucasians, which means cave dwellers, or dwellers of the mountains. You know, which goes back to the Caucasus Mountains in southeast Georgia, Russia. You know, the Most High set them above us, man. And they trying to contain their kingdom, which is not gonna happen, man. The Most High is gonna sift them out, and is gonna bring World War III to this place, man. Like it's also prophesied, you know. And I just read Revelation 9:12, where it said, the first woe is past and the second woe cometh quickly. So after the first woe was past, they had this Roman treaty, which was the setting up of the EU, wherein they basically set up the EU so that European countries will not make war with each other anymore. But the prophecy is, the iron is not gonna stick to the clay, so Europe is eventually gonna fall apart too, you know. But when you look into the word woe, it goes into lamentation. It goes into destruction, basically. So the first destruction is past, and the second woe, meaning the second destruction cometh quickly, which was because the second destruction, the Second World War, came quickly after that. You know, Revelation. This is Revelation 11:14. The second woe is past. So here it says, okay, now the Second World War is past. The second destruction is past. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So the World War III is pending, man. You know, if we look at the news, if we are being watchers, like we're supposed to be for the Heavenly Father and His Son, which name is Yahweh, and His Son, His name is Yahushai. As we being watchers, we see what's going on in the world. We see basically yeah, a lot of police out there, man. Shit's crazy. Okay, there you go. It's an escort for these rich Edomites, man. It's good that I'm filming this, man. I believe that they're gonna go into the palace. You know, it will appear in the camera in a minute. Proud as demon ass Edomites, man, thinking that their kingdom will last forever. You know, with the golden chariot. It's probably bulletproof too. It's probably bulletproof too. That's just it, man. That's where we are at. The Hague is a very political place, and all these nations come together here, and you often see like bulletproof cars, escorts and stuff like this, you know, through the city, man. You know, but back to the topic, Revelation 11:14, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So again, you know, things might look peaceful and all of that to the naked eye, but things are pending, man, and the watchers are watching, you know, what's going on in the world, and bringing out videos, making videos, going out in the highways and byways, teaching the people what's gonna happen shortly, you know, which is the destruction of this kingdom, man. You know, you can't go around it. And the third world war is pending, you know, which is gonna be the end of this kingdom and the beginning of ours, like it says in 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 9. You know, Esau is the end. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. So this kingdom is gonna be for the children of Israel, man, for the children of Jacob, which are the Negros, Latinos, and Indianos. Daniel chapter 2 verse 44, and in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom, which is the kingdom of Jacob, the world of Jacob, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people. So it's not gonna be a joint rulership, man. This rulership is gonna be for the Negros, Latinos, and Indianos, you know, and they're gonna rule in righteousness, man. They're gonna rule in righteousness. The children of Israel are gonna rule in righteousness. Like it says, when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn, but when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So it's gonna be a rejoicing kingdom, man. It's gonna be beautiful. You know, things is gonna change. You know, we're not gonna rejoice in a building like this that you see in front of you. Here it is, nations are working together to build a building. You know, putting millions and millions of dollars, euros, whatever it was. It was not euros, because the euro wasn't there yet, but millions and millions of cash in this project, and it looks whack as fuck, man. That's basically the thing. It looks terrible, man. It looks terrible. Then they on top of the tower, on top of the tower, there's a crow with the sun symbol, which we know it goes back to sun worship, which goes back to the Christian church, you know, and goes back to Babylonianism, you know. So this kingdom is not gonna stand, and is not gonna be, and the new kingdom is not gonna be left to other people, but to the Negros, Latinos, and Indianos, the Israelites. But it shall break in pieces and consume these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So the kingdom of Yasha'Allah, the kingdom of Israel, is going to stand forever. You know, so the vain thought that these Edomites have, it's not going to happen, man. Their kingdom is going to fall at a certain point, and then they're going to look amazed at the destruction thereof. Because this kingdom is going to go down by a strange act, man, like it speaks of in the book of Isaiah 28. It's gonna happen with a strange act, man. Nuclear missiles that the Bible speaks of, fervent heat, you know, is gonna consume these places, and everything is gonna go down to the foundation thereof, even this palace, you know. Thus said the Bible, you know. So the palace of peace, the peace palace in the Hague, is vain. You know, so with that, I want to say, Qala Allah, Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai Ba'asham Rakakodash. Shalom.